Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope all of you are fine and doing well. So the topic we will discuss today it is the first member of the macromolecules, which is known as the carbohydrates. So the simple carbohydrates, these are mainly macromolecules, and these macromolecules are known as or can be defined as polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxyketones. So both they may be aldehydic or they may be ketonic. It depends upon the type of the functional group that they contain. On the other hand, the general formula for the carbohydrates we have it is CnH2O and N. This is the general formula where the N just denotes the number of carbon atoms that are present in the simple carbohydrate. And carbohydrate, these are the simple compounds of carbon and hydrogen along with the presence of the oxygen atoms. So they are known as polyhydroxy. Here the word we have poly. Poly means simple many and hydroxy mean the hydroxyl group, and aldehyde mean there may be aldehyde group like C double bond OH and or the ketonic group which is C double bond O R. So both the groups can be present or may be present over there. So this is the simple overview about the carbohydrates. In this picture, you can see that we have the pulses, we have the different pastas, we have bread, we have the grams, we have the maize. All these are the source of the carbohydrates. We can gain the carbohydrates from all these substances. So this is the simple carbohydrate. After that, we have the synthesis of the carbohydrate, that how we can synthesize the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are just synthesized by the plants through the process, and that process is mainly known as the photosynthesis process. Now, what is going to be happen in the photosynthesis? Here, the plants uses the carbon dioxide and water. These are just added up, and what they just release this is the oxygen gas and the glucose in the presence of the sunlight. This process is simple known as the photosynthesis process. So chemically it is carbon dioxide reacts with the water molecules in the presence of the sunlight, and this reaction just takes place in the chlorophyll. The product we gain it is glucose C6H12O6. So this is the glucose and this is oxygen gas. The simple production of the carbohydrates or the synthesis of the carbohydrates. Here the word chlorophyll. Chlorophyll it is the main green pigment which is present in the plants, and in the chlorophyll the process of photosynthesis just takes place. So this was a simple synthesis of the carbohydrates. Here the main glucose, it is the carbohydrate and it is mainly aldehyde sugar, or it is also known as the polyhydroxyaldehydic compound of the carbohydrates. And the further the glucose just polymerize and it forms the different products of the carbohydrates, and it all just depends upon the chain of the carbon atoms, that how many carbon atoms are present and they are forming the polymers. And then we have types of the carbohydrates. Basically, carbohydrates are of two types. The number one we have the simple carbohydrate, and the second one we have the complex carbohydrate. The simple carbohydrate are just named as the sugars that are present in different fruits. And then we have complex. This is the second type of the carbohydrate. It is just further divided into two types, the starches and the fibers. Here the starches, you can see that all these are the sources of the starch, in which the top of one we have the potato, we have the maize, we have the simple pulses. On the other hand, we have fibers. And the fibers, these are present in the different vegetables, like the green vegetables, like in the carrot, in the tomato. These contain the fibers in them. So this is the simple types of the carbohydrates. There are two types of carbon. Carbohydrates have been also classified into three main forms, and they have been classified on the basis of the number of the carbon atoms or on the basis of the presence of the functional group in the carbohydrates. So this was all about today's lecture. I hope you guys understand, and if you have any queries, you may ask me about them in the comment section. Along with that, you guys must know the carbohydrates. We gain it from our daily life products, like sugar is present in the milk, it is present in the bananas, in the cherries, in the watermelon, in the orange. All these substances contain the sugar, which is the simple carbohydrates, and the complex are present in the vegetables as well in the potato, maize, and different substances or pulses. So the next topic we will discuss it is the classification of the carbohydrates. Basically, carbohydrates have been classified into monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, and the polysaccharides. For that time, you guys keep learning and have a good day.